Now let us get started. We've got a couple of panelists out here. I hope this lady's fun as the last time we did this. I've got PJ Souls from Halloween, Stripes, Rock and Roll High School, Devil's Rejection Parody. PJ. Yay! With Diane Franklin from Better Off Dead, Bill and Ted Texas Adventure, and Will Horror 2, Animal Murder. And last but not least, Tracie Thoms from Death Proof, Brett, Wiggins, Spider Guy, Watch It. And everybody's been so excited. All right. No, I never get a job. So usually I'm running around like my wife's doing today. So I'm going to start out. I was talking with Pruitt in the last event that we had, and he was talking about the audition process. Oh, it's right up. Sorry.
Hello.
And he was talking about how the interview process is that you wanted to get into the room with the director, and now you're doing self-takes and sending along from your phone or from your camera. I know people like this, and I was wondering, was this a result of technology or COVID or both, and how does it change the audition process for doing film now, as opposed to?
Well, I haven't done that yet. Is it on? Yes. I've done some Zoom interviews and podcasts and things like that. I use my phone for. Hello? Yeah. I can just talk over. So I'm not that tech savvy, so it takes a while for me to set it up. But I would say for the people that are getting to have that experience at home, they don't have to drive an hour to 20th Century Fox to pick up the sides 2 days before and then drive home and then study their sides and then go in again, drive all the way to 20th Century Fox and go through the gate and hear pass and, sit in the room for an hour with all the other actresses that you're going up against. Usually you're very friendly with and, in my time, we all knew each other and we all had a good time in the waiting process. But I would say today it's so much easier and I think it's awesome.
Mine's work. My experience, okay, so first of all, I was very grateful that the online process started to happen with auditions because the actor, again, you get your stuff, you get in the car, you drive at least an hour. That's always at least an hour to get there, no matter what, traffic or not. You have to find parking, you go into the audition, you wait, another 15 minutes, finally you get in, you go for 5 minutes, and then you're back in the car, hours driving, back. And for me, so I was thrilled when we started doing the auditions online, and it also enabled you to do it over and over until you felt like you gave the best performance, which I think was really good. And then you also, it's sort of a learning curve because you kind of went, oh wait, okay, maybe that third one was right, I shouldn't have done it anymore. So, but the other thing I realized was, also it changed it. I know it's interesting, but I found that eye contact to the camera for auditions worked so much better than even off-camera, side to side, because you're now looking at the person who you're auditioning. You're playing your character, but you're looking. It's more powerful to a certain extent to be looking at the person. So it's an interesting experience, but I really, really hope that they continue to do it for actors, because I think that they'll see more actors if they do, and just have people come in person for callbacks. That would be, I think, better.
Because also, I think you'll lose that energy. Oh, much better, Mike. That energy and that nervousness, which actually fuels the positive energy of getting up and ready and to do your best. And you only have one shot at 3 minutes in the room, that I think really helps propel you to do your absolute 100%. As opposed to doing it over and over again, and you yourself choosing which take. Because sometimes you can be wrong, like you said.
It's true. That's true.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like it's twofold. On one hand, it's very convenient to go into a room in your house and I have a room in my basement that's just for taping. But then I'm a person, very humble. I'm a person who works better under pressure. So I can just procrastinate in my house. When you have an appointment, you gotta get there. you know, in their time, you know, to get there. So there's something about that adrenaline in the room. But also I feel, well, the convenience of being able to do it over and over again and being able to do it at home, not having to leave. You can do it 2 a.m. if you want, you know, because I'm a night owl. I get very awake at night. But the thing is, it's kind of like a guessing game, kind of, because in the room you can talk to the director and the casting director and say, what are we trying to do here, or you know, and they can give you feedback on the spot. And they say, no, it's more like this, or we're looking for this. They can do that in a room, nobody's doing that. You're in a vacuum, so you're like, I think it goes like this, but I could have made a different choice if I was told to make a different choice. So it's like whoever makes the right choice gets it in that moment, you know what I mean? It's like, so there are good things about it and things I don't love about it. But I asked my next door neighbor, who is a casting director, and I asked her, who's Denisha, she's great. I said, do you think we're ever going to go back to in the room auditions? And she said, no. So I don't think we're ever going to go back to what it was. Like, I bring in a handful of people, but I'm not doing calls. Like,
And also you lose, I think the people that know are more tech savvy have an advantage because, you know, maybe whoever's viewing all these people on tapes and choosing, if it looks more professional, well, you have a
because you're lighting
So, I don't know.
You gotta make sure your internet
I'm
is
not really
strong.
for it, and I hope it goes back, but it's probably not because.
Yeah, and also one more thing I think too is, as an actor, you want to act with other people. And so all of a sudden, you're doing a scene and you're doing it by yourself or to a dot in the wall or a place that you're looking at. And it's so like sad because we all got to experience, okay, we're gonna pair you up with that person, or we're gonna like mix and match, and that was such a cool.
Or read with a casting agent who was awful.
Yes. Yeah.
I just had an
I'd rather read in the
experience.
doc than the casting, but another
Yeah.
actor,
Sure.
I-
Great, yeah.
It's
But
that room in between, you know, that spark that's in between.
yeah, I just got asked to do a chemistry read over Zoom. A chemistry read with another actor over Zoom. I didn't get it. I didn't get the part. I didn't get it. I couldn't somehow create chemistry over Zoom with another person. Yeah, he threw a chemistry test. The dude was in LA, I was in Baltimore, the director was in Atlanta, and we're all on the Zoom thing. They're like, Tracie, can you just move your camera a little bit? Can you just erase it? So all of a sudden I'm trying to like put books and things.
It's technical.
You know what I mean? And then I'm like, do I play to him or do I play to the camera? Which is it? Do you know?
And if you would look, that's the weird, you have to play to camera. And it feels weird, but that's
I
exactly.
can't look at his face. I can't look
Look
at
at his looking at his eyes, virtually the camera.
And then the girl ended up getting it. She was like, I'm not doing it on Zoom. I'm flying to LA, which I offered to do. So the girl said, I'm not doing it. I flew to LA. And said, no. And the director's like, well, the chemistry in the room. I'm like, are you crazy? Of course the chemistry in the room is going to be better than the chemistry on the Zoom. Why are we doing it that way anyway? Anyway, that means I probably didn't want to do that project, right?
Now, continuing on to this, you have a special place in your house that you actually do reads like this. And for
Tracie's basement.
and you know,
You
you
guys
like
are welcome to visit my basement if you have to take anything. Come on over.
Now, does anybody have a question here out of the audience? No? Oh, you got a question, great, all right. We'll get you next.
Hi, ladies. Thank you for being here today. I wanted to ask Tracie about the documentary she was in that Chris Rock did called Good Hair, which I love that documentary. I thought if I'd been thinking, I would have brought my copy to have you autograph it. I was wondering if you could talk about that and then also talk about where you think we are today as far as natural hair being more widely accepted. Yes.
That's a great question. So what happened was I used to have, long story short, I used to have a perm, straight hair, straightened my hair, perm my scalp until like 97 was my last perm. Then I started getting braids because I was in grad school, and then who got time to get their hair done in grad school? So, and then I took my braids out, and I had no more perm. I just had all the perm hair broken off, and I just had my natural hair. And I was like, oh, this is what my hair looks like. Because when you are a black girl in America specifically, during that time, it was not really acceptable to just wear your hair the way you wear your head, right? So we all straightened our hair. It's crazy, right?
Oh, I have to tell you something. I'm one step before you. I was growing up in the 70s, had to straighten my hair. I wrote a book about it. And my curly hair in Last American Version was the thing that caused you to get perms. I was the first actress to bring curly hair into the 80s.
Wow.
So this is an unbelievable moment for me because I'm going, oh my God, and she had the same thing but a little bit later.
Yeah.
I had to straighten my hair for years, couldn't get arrested as far as work. Finally let my hair go natural, got the lead in a feature film, and after that, all curly, and then all the actresses, Jennifer Beals, and all come, and it opened, hello, ethnicity. It allowed ethnicity in American cult, in films.
I ironed my hair on an ironing board with a scarf and with legs. I have really curly, frizzy, crazy hair. And I wish I had invented the flat iron because I basically
It was ironing your hair.
was flat ironing my hair on an
it's
ironing
crazy.
board with a scarf.
Because we had to like chemically alter our hair.
But I have to say, I was also modeling in New York City in the early 70s, and I modeled for teen straight hair. But this one, the editor said, tomorrow I want you to come in and you can get the cover, but I want your hair to be natural. I want you to, but I washed my hair, and it was just so curly and so crazy. I thought, there's no way she's going to let me be on the cover. So I straightened it, and I went in, and it was a shoot with another model who had naturally straight hair, strawberry blonde. And she said, oh, PJ, I really wanted your natural hair. What'd you do? I said, it just didn't look good. And she said, well, you lost the cover. And I thought, wow, they're ready for my real hair.
That's exactly it. They weren't ready in the 70s and also in the 80s. It was the time where the world was ready for the curly hair look. But, I mean, as an audience, you never think that that was such a big deal, but it really was for actors. And like Sarah Jessica Parker, like, they were all straightened their hair, like everybody. So when it became in fashion, but I'm talking about, like, curly hair became pretty. Like, usually would be cast as, like, the best friend or somebody who was, like oh, she's the girl, you know, with weirdo or the nerdy girl or whatever. Like, they do cast it that way. And with Virgin, it was the first time that the girl was a dream girl. And that was phenomenal to me. I remember even writing about it in the bios that we had, like, what is happening? Like, I don't know if this is real. So, yeah.
Yeah, but it was crazy. Well, yeah, it's because our hair was, our hair was kinky hair. So kinky hair, African kinky hair was not seen as professional or acceptable or groomed or anything like that. It was like you didn't put yourself together until very recently. So when I discovered my natural hair, because we've been straightening my whole life since I was 9.
Men could do that.
Men could, but the women couldn't. In the 70s, yeah, but then in the 80s, no, it wasn't straight hair. It was like a perm. It was like acid in your hair to straighten it, to have straight hair. So when I had my hair natural, I was like, this is interesting. I didn't even know it did this. And then a friend of mine, I was doing a play, she said, I want you to keep your hair like this. I want you to put it in a little afro puff. So I did that, and then I never straightened my hair again. So I had to figure out how to work it because there was nobody who even knew how to take care of your hair. So you could learn it, and particularly like in the business. It's a very, very big deal in the business because you go to your makeup trailer, usually the hair person does not know how to do natural hair. So women with natural hair can come with their hair done. But I just refused to straighten my hair. I was like, I was looking around, I was like, this has to change. So when I met Chris Rock when it was Benefit, he was like, I'm doing a movie about hair, and he did my movie, and I was like, sure. So I was the only one in the movie with natural hair. I didn't realize I was going to be the most natural hair in the movie. But he did a whole documentary called Good Hair about Black women, the pressure to straighten their hair, and the industry, the beauty industry. And now, there's all kinds of women with natural hair on TV. But I was the only one.
There's product now.
Yeah, there's product. Yeah, there's product now, there's all, and also like, like white girls with curly hair are benefiting from the black girl product. So like, this stuff works in my hair too. It works great. But that movie was very, very groundbreaking. I'm so excited that we did that movie. I'm so excited that
Thank you for bringing it
That
up.
was a great question. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question on you. I think I'll just right in front. I didn't see Rob when I lost my adult.
So I have a question. I know you guys work on a lot of projects. It's sort of like a party question. Most memorable moment in a movie of a party that you may have gone to, like offset at a movie or a show. You can remember like every time someone asks you, this person and at that party. Wait, so like most memorable moment
On set or off set?
on set
At a party.
at a party.
On set at a party.
This is not on set, like after hours on set, like.
Oh, like okay, so our most memorable moment working on a film but not being on set, like hanging out afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Well, you know, it's funny because we all work really hard. I'm sure. And we're all like probably memorizing our lines and they go, okay, we're ready to go. So, and then like, we're done with the shoot, okay, we're going home. So it's very funny. Recently somebody said to me like, you know, oh, you must have met a lot of people in Hollywood and gone to a lot of Hollywood parties. I think honestly a lot of the actual working actors didn't party. I mean, they did party in a certain way, but I think it was more about socializing. I don't know. I always found that the real actors, they did their job and then they went home. I don't know. You tell me.
I'm a party girl. But I have people over at my house on the weekends, stuff like that. But I read, I was in Rock and Roll High School, and all the Ramones wrote their various books, and Dee Dee wrote one, and he had a little chapter on Rock and Roll High School, and wrote, yeah, it was really a drug filming that movie because they didn't party after work every night. That was really a drag, because he was used to, obviously, when you perform on stage and it's late at night, and then afterwards, you know, there's girls and there's whatever, and it goes into the hours, and you don't have to work until the next night. But this was, you end at 7, you go home, you get some beauty rest, and you're back at the set at 5 o'clock in makeup and hair. So sorry, Dee. Anyway, so that's my experience.
Well, lovely.
Well, Chris Rock, come on.
Party. Yes, it is true. When you're working every day, you can't go out. You know, you can't like leave set and go crazy because you have to be back on set at 5 a.m. the next day. You have no life when you're working constantly. But I will say that there was a moment when I was doing Death Proof, and me and Rosario were somehow in a suite with Kurt Russell and Quentin Tarantino, right? So in this suite, there's two of us and Kurt, and you know, we're just kind of like, there's the girls in the bedroom. And then, you know, so we're all like sipping and having a good time, and I got to the point where I was like, I need to stop because something bad's gonna happen. I mean, not gonna get sick or something like that, but I was like, but they were talking, Quentin and Kurt Russell were talking about all their favorite movies and people they knew and actors and moments, and it was the most fascinating conversation. And I look over at Rosario, I'm like, just stay awake, just fucking stay awake. Do not fall asleep, this is amazing. This is amazing. We're here, we can be cool, we can hang, we can be like, we can be like, yep, that movie, yep, I love that, pat the ball, yep, you know. It was crazy, but it was like, I couldn't believe that I was there. And I couldn't believe that I was privy to the conversation. And I learned so much about them and longevity and how much they love what they do. Even after all this time, they still love what they do so much. And it was so inspiring to me. So I was just trying to hang.
I do have a memory of the rap party after Halloween. We saw the screening and went, and actually it was the rap party, so it was before the cast and crew screening, obviously. And there was a moment out on the balcony, I was talking to Deborah Hill, and I don't know why I said it, and it seems like it was so unlike me, but, you know, there was still a little bit of buzz within all of us, and Donald Pleasance was in the movie, so I was like, so if this movie is successful, will we, like, get a bonus or something, like $10,000 or something? Because we were all getting paid scale, which is like, back then it was like $600 a week, and it's a 3-week shoot, so. And she said, absolutely, but it never happened. But that was a moment that I thought, wow, because people always say, did you know at the time it was gonna last for, no idea. He was hoping to get some good footage, he'd get to the casting agent, to get into the door for the next project that was coming along. And within the whole casting community, you were hoping to get some, good reviews. But I do remember that, and I think, darn, I should have put it in writing.
Put it in writing.
We've got a question out here now? No, I don't see, okay. So I'm going to ask a question. This one I actually, because I was thinking about the last time we were here. Is there a greater need, with all the extra work, you guys work really hard, you're really busy jobbing actors, and there's long hours, and there's keeping fit and keeping in a specific look and frame of mind. Do you feel that there's a greater need for mental health awareness in the TV movie industry, and if so, what should it look like?
Okay. Look at me.
I just seem like you would have an answer to that.
Yeah, no, I gotta say, I think mental health is really important for actors. Because, first of all, I mean, so many actors, you come in with this great hope and you want to be working. And the ultimate thing is, okay, you go for an audition, you put your heart into it, you get a call back, you get another call back. And then all of a sudden, you don't, if you don't get it, you think, well, what did I do wrong? I mean, I don't know about everybody, but I know, what did I do wrong? What could I have done that would have made a difference? I didn't realize at the time that, I didn't realize at the time that I was doing like that. Oops, hello? Oh, look at this. Next, okay. I don't like the other one, but anyway. I didn't realize at the time that I should have just not been so worried, because it really had nothing to do with me. It really had to do with what was right for the project or something that was beyond my control. But I always remember going for auditions and feeling like I wanted to just do my best, because that's all I can walk out with. And if I walked out feeling like I did my best for what I did, then I was totally cool, like whether I got it or not. So mental health is super important because, as an example, all right, I was screen tested for Amadeus at the age of 21, and I flew by myself from California to New York to meet the casting director, and then auditioned for Milos Forman, and then flew to Czechoslovakia with the girl, Elizabeth Berridge, and we flew together. She was the only other girl, because originally who got the role of Costanza was Meg Tilly, and she broke her leg. Oh, you guys probably know this. So Meg Tilly broke her leg, so they needed to replace Costanza, which was Mozart's wife in the film Amadeus. So we fly, and I am 21, and I'm flying with this other girl and the director, Saul Zantz, who I was told wanted to have Elizabeth get the role. And Milos wanted me, and he supposedly wanted her. So I'm on the plane by myself, okay? Talk about mental pressure. I mean, now if I think of my daughter at 21 flying across country by herself, and now I'm flying from New York to Prague, to Germany, with my competition, as well as the producer who wants her. And it was like, I can't even begin to tell you. Like, it was so much pressure. It was unbelievable. And then when we get there, we auditioned for the film because they were in production already. Full costume, full makeup. We went through every single scene in that film. I did every single scene, as did Elizabeth. We finished the day. We're sitting, and we eventually, believe me, we were not friendly at the beginning. She was cat-eyeing me, and I'm like, okay, let's just back it up. But after the audition, after the screen test, we sat down, we're eating together, and we're like, oh my gosh, I love your work, and I love your work, and I wish I was you, and I wish you were me, and blah, 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 that kind of love fest. And Milos Forman comes over to the table and says, I'm sorry, ladies, we're going to have to do all those auditions again. Something went wrong with Elizabeth's tape. So that night, I went to my room, and I took a deep breath and oh my God, I literally like was so like, and then Elizabeth, she went out with the guys. She went to party with them. I don't know what happened. But anyway, let's just keep it that. So anyway, the next morning we auditioned again in full costume and makeup. Now all I'm trying to say to you is, right now, think of a 21-year-old and ask yourself if you think that 21-year-old can do all this. And that is what we're talking about, the pressure of being on your own and handling that and keeping your composure. And the only way I can do it, I have to say, is because I worked 10 years before. So I had that experience before to go, you know what? Take a deep breath. This is how you handle pressure. Take a deep breath. How do you this, in your head, this is for you. Stay in the moment. And what happened was when I wound up doing it, the greatest thing was I said to myself, you know what? I have no control over this situation. I can only do this for myself and enjoy it because I might only have this moment. And I did. And I killed it. I killed it. And I said to them, and they told me, they sat me down and they said, with Elizabeth there, Diane, we have to give the part to Elizabeth. I was like, and I just like took a deep breath. I didn't cry, but I just said this. I said, could you please send me the tape? Because that's all I have, that's all I want. Just like send me my audition. And they said, absolutely. And then I went to my room and I bawled because of the pressure. Because of the pressure. It wasn't even the audition, and in fact, I actually felt like good, I'm glad she got it, because I was under I had gone back to back on projects and I was so exhausted that I'm just saying that it's a fascinating thing in life that this kind of pressure needs to come. We need to support actors and women because we are the emotion that audiences want to see. We work on like expressing ourselves and putting ourselves in these hard situations. I mean, no less than like the Olympics, right? The Olympics, tremendous pressure, and these girls have to keep it together, these guys have to keep it together. And that kind of pressure, I think, is starting to come up. We're starting to hear more about it, and we just haven't gotten to it yet. We just got to the hashtag #MeToo, so I think
It's beyond pressure, it's expectation.
Right.
Yeah, it's that too.
That's the big
And sometimes it gets worse
pressure.
as you get older in the business because people know you now. You could be bad when nobody knows you. It will be fine. But once you set a standard for yourself, and they're like, well, you need to keep at that gold standard, and that becomes crazy. So I had a moment like 2 years ago where 2-3 years ago, I was going to auditions, and I'll be fine the first audition, and then I could call back and be like, and then I'll get to the test. And I was bombing tests. I would get in there and forget everything. And I was like, what is happening to me? And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, I know these lines, and it was so bad. I didn't put on audition, it was so bad, but it was on a sitcom, that the cast member chased me out of the room. She goes, no, you have to do that again. You have to do that again. I know you're nervous, I know there's a lot of people in the room, but you have to do that again now. And I was like, oh my God, but then I'm just, self-conscious. But in the morning, the work session, I was fine, I was killing it, so there's nobody watching. These tests are crazy. You go into a room full of people, they're not laughing, they're just evaluating you. So you have to figure out what to do. So I know a lot of actors who are literally on medication. They take a beta blocker before a big audition. It's like it literally blocks your adrenaline. But you don't want to be on medication. You want to figure out a way to do that, how to meditate, how to be whatever. But I had a moment, I was like, okay, therapy. It's time for me to go back to therapy. And so I started therapy again. And it's really hard. And they teach like sports psychology in school. So people don't choke. You wonder how it's game 7, it's the buzzer. How do they not choke? Because they focus. They learn that skill. But they don't teach us that in school.
Yeah, they should.
And they should, because what we're doing is so bizarre. There's no right answer. There's no the person who has the right answer gets the job. We're literally pretending to be people we're not. And how do you get that right? There's no right. There's just if it's true or not. And what's true for one person is not true to another person. It's subjective. So what we do is kind of ridiculous. It's beautiful, but it's kind of ridiculous because you can't ever achieve it. You can't ever become somebody you're not. You can try to find the truth and tell the truth from your perspective in humanity and try to illuminate humanity as much as you can, but I can't actually literally be Juliet, right? So, and the more you try to achieve something you can never actually quite achieve is a mind screw. So you have to figure out a way to exist in that space and figure a way to take the rejection and not take it personally. That takes time. You know, you can tell yourself you're young, like if it's what's for me, it's for me, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But it's not until you have experience that you really feel that way. So yeah, mental health is very important. That's why people they went to the hospital for exhaustion, things like that. I didn't understand what that was, but now I do. I get that. It's real talk. I know it's real talk right here. I know it's real. We're not sugarcoating things here.
Okay, does anybody have a question in the audience? Okay, right down here in front. Oh, wait, okay. Yeah, he's closer.
Going off of the idea of becoming someone else in your mental space and everything, is there a character that, and it's everyone, that you played that you would love to revisit at this point in their lives? Like wondering, what is that person doing? Because you all started so young that, you know, wondering where they are now.
Linda's dead. Norma is dead. I'm a good-looking skeleton. But Rick Randall has hopefully gone, you know, it would be fun to see her having gone on to a career maybe as a songwriter, which was her dream and goal. And she is a member of ASCAP and is collecting those royalties. And she had a successful career, maybe as a jingle writer, maybe one of her kids started a band. So I often think of Rick Randall because she's one of my favorite characters. Stella from Stripes and Wanda Winter from Private Benjamin. Hopefully they retired by now. But that's a good question.
Okay, so Bill and Ted's, I guess I will never know that. Okay, what that was like, coming back as an adult, so we'll just let that pass. Last American Virgin, I think people, I would probably have to come back as a broken person so that people feel good that that's what happened to Karen. I would be like, yeah, well you should happen because you left that guy. But yeah, if that happened, then I would come back with, I would like to come back as somebody who's like working at Hot Dog and Stick, and Lawrence comes up and he's like, the guy, Gary comes in and he's like a lawyer, and you see the love scene you've always wanted to see, so that would have been kind of a fun thing. But my dream role would be having Baraka come back and play Monique Jeannon, and having men, and we have kids, and we live on a ski slope, and Ricky is managing the town, he's the mayor. That's just what my thought is. We have kids in the second generation.
I don't want to see that. Can we make that movie? Oh, come on. I guess of all of them, I would like to revisit Kim in Death Proof now, because I think she'd be hilarious. I think a mid-40s stunt woman would be hilarious, actually. And just wonder what she did after that, and you know, what she was earlier up to, you know. And I'll keep you with that.
Question over here.
Hi. You guys have all done so many fantastic things, but what did you have the most fun filming? Not necessarily the best thing that was historic-wise, but what did you have fun with?
All the movies were fun because it was a joy working, but I think I probably had the most fun doing Rockville High School. Because Riff Randall was a dream character for me, being that she was completely the opposite of my high school experience. So she was, you know, I got to put in all of that energy and gusto into what I thought it would be like to be a real American teenager and passionately in love and wanting to, you know, get the Ramones, get one of her songs to the Ramones. So it was just such a joy every day to work on that film, and the cast was great, and Alan Arkish was great. We loved the script. We just, you know, when you've got 3 weeks to film something in a low budget, 3 weeks, 21 days, same as Halloween, $200,000. Although Halloween was $300,000, but $100,000 went to Donald Pleasant, so it was still a $200,000 budget. But when you work under that kind of pressure and really 3 takes is too much, if you can get in the first take, you're good. Second take, okay, try something. Third take, director's not happy. Let's move on. But it was just pure joy. So.
I'm just cutting to the chase. Better off dead. That is it. That is all.
I could say Rent was the most fun because it was a dream come true. I auditioned for Rent for like 9 times over 8 years. And they kept telling me, no, oh, are we going in now? Oh, look at that. Switch. Yeah, I saw Rent in '97, the original cast. I became obsessed, auditioned. No. Went to whole grad school. They kept saying no, and finally auditioned for the movie. And I was like, this is my last Rent audition, period. I'm not going in for this thing anymore. And then I got the movie. So it was a dream come true, worked on it for 6 months. And I got to do it with the original cast that had inspired me in the first place. And it was a dream on every single level. So, yes, right.
Do we have a question from the audience? Okay, go ahead.
Going back to the mental health conversation, just a personal thing from you. Is there anything you do or a place you go or someone you talk to that reminds you of your core person and just keeps you really grounded, brings you back to you?
Yes, my partner. So my partner, my dude, started off as my acting partner. We would be working on auditions together. We kind of just reminded each other why we love acting. We both got to a point where we're kind of like, you get jaded after one. You sort of that happens. It's just part of the process. And we just started working on things in a different way. And we opened back up this part of each other that made us love the craft again. And then, things happened. He's my partner.
I have to say my family, my husband and my daughter and my son. And, when they're happy, I'm happy, and it just, everything flows. And, nothing's as important as your family. I just think, and hopefully you get along with them too. But yeah, so I love my kids, I love my husband, really lucky, and I don't take it for granted. I don't take them for granted. So I think that's part of it.
If you're referring to like when you're preparing for a role, is that what I was kind of hearing? Or just in life? Because, it was long ago that I was doing these movies, but for me, I do remember, just cherishing once I got a part and just tearing apart the script and I would figure out what I was my wardrobe for which, for Riff Randall, which scenes I had the longest time in a particular outfit and making sure I wore my favorite outfit for that scene. And then I would, play music. I remember going to auditions and just, cranking up the stereo and just screaming and yelling at the top of my lungs to get a deeper voice and just to get calmed down. And I took boxing at the YMCA, and I did yoga way back then in the 70s and 80s before it became a thing. And it was, I think obviously, family is important. I was married, but it's really a solo journey when you're preparing and going about, starting a new movie or a role, and you have to really get inside yourself and figure out, one, how to be really calm so you can channel your best work and so you can not have that anxiety, which actually helps when you step on the set, but as soon as you are getting into the role and the scene is starting, you're hoping for that magic moment of, becoming one with the part and making it as realistic and organic as possible so that it translates on film as an actual real moment. So for me it was really just trying to identify with each role and making it as true in the moment, in the actual filming of that moment, so that it was real.
Do you have a question out here? No? Yes? All right, Tom.
Hey, ladies. I'm loud, but they'll tell you. Okay. Hi, ladies. First of all, thank you for all the years of joy and entertainment you've brought to fans like myself. I appreciate it. Just tying the whole mental health thing struck a chord with me, and just tying into something Tracie said. You're in what can be a crazy business. Was there ever a time in your career where you really sat and thought, I'm not sure if this is for me, and if I really want to go forward with acting?
Well, I did, but it was kind of strange. I started acting when I was 10, and there were a couple. It's interesting. I started acting at 10, and I started with modeling. And there was a modeling guy who used to do photographer who nobody wanted to work with at JCPenney's. Okay, he was in New York. Everyone was like, no one. But of course, I knew I didn't know anything. I'm like, 10 years or 12 years old, really young, 11. And they said, okay, well, you have this modeling thing. So I go there, and the guy says, oh, you're too fat. Photographer, you're too fat, she's too fat. And my mother was like, oh, because she's mother. And I was like, what? And I didn't get it, luckily. I didn't get it. So I was like, so my mom said to me, are you sure, do you want to do it? Do you still want to do this? And I said, yeah, why wouldn't I? And I was like, I don't know, that's his problem, I don't even know. I mean, I remember distinctly at that age, I was like 11. And that's a very crucial, let's just face it, it's the F word, right? So I had that thing where when there was something, people talk about criticism, I would just let it go past me. I wouldn't let it go in me. So I'd be like, well, yeah, but it wasn't that I didn't hear it. It was that I just didn't, I thought, well, I just want to do this. My drive was so strong that I didn't even acknowledge it. But my mom was like, do you still want to do it? And I said, absolutely, for sure. And then the only reason I ever wanted to stop after that, which was interesting, was when I was 15, I did an extra job for a film called Endless Love with Brooke Shields. I had done modeling with Brooke. I knew her mom. She was really nice. And I was just the extra. I was in the background. And she was like this gorgeous, beautiful, talented, sweet girl. And she was younger than me. She was really cool. And I looked at her and I'm like, oh my God, this girl has everything. She's just got it all, which I'm sure everybody thinks about all other actors and all Instagram. I mean, everyone goes, they've got it all. They're perfect. And she took a picture with me. Like I said, can we take a picture? And she took a picture with me. She was so sweet and so nice. And I thought, I don't need to be an actress anymore. Because this girl did everything I wanted to do. She is a nice person, and she's an actor. That's what I wanted to be. I was like, because I ran into these stories of people who are so mean and so I don't know, they just seem ungrateful. Now as an adult, I go, oh, it's just they've had a hard life, and not everybody's life is good, And this particular situation, I was like, I went home and I thought, okay, I'm not going to be an actress. What am I going to do? So I was like, okay, I'll be a scientist or something. And I go to sleep. I'll be my own answer. So I go to sleep, wake up the next morning, and then went, it just didn't leave me. I was like, you know what? There's room for more. There's room for more nice people who are actors in the business. And I said, okay, no, I'm going to do it. So it was fascinating to let it go, but then it wouldn't leave me. And there you go. So, and it wasn't like, I've done it. There was no anger. It was completely accepting. And from that moment on, I never said no. I just said, okay, that's what's meant to be. There you go. Boom.
Is that the single sentence that you would send back to your previous self, from now, knowing what it is, and send it back?
Oh, it's the sentence I would say to myself?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just say, I'm glad I did, I shouldn't have worried so much. I should have just enjoyed the process through when I was younger. And I think that is what I say to younger people. remember it's for you. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the act of creativity and acting in the moment. And because that's the joy of what you do. And then if you do that, other people will see it. And if they don't, there'll be something else. And it wasn't meant for you. So I just kind of go with the flow. And my life is very happy because of that. Thank you. You know, I think it's just, I'm not fighting, you know, the world. No.
Tracie, the same question for you. What message would you send back to your previous self, your younger self when you got started?
I kept running from acting, so I didn't think I would work. I didn't think I would have a career, because I didn't see anybody who looked like me. There weren't examples of like kind of girl next door black girls, you know, would be gorgeous or like matron or whatever, older, whatever. So I just didn't think. So I kept trying to quit. I kept trying to do, you know, I went to a regular high school. I started doing like theater when I was 9. And I loved it, but I didn't think I was very good. A, and B, I didn't think I'm not going to be an actress for my life. That's ridiculous. so I kept trying to quit. I kept trying to leave it, but it kept coming back. So I went to regular high school. My cousins hired, hated it. Then left and went to performing arts high school. And then went to college at Howard University. And I was like, I'm going to be a communications major. And a theater minor, so I can like do theater for fun on weekends or something. And then I hated that. And then I ended up switching my major to acting. I was like, okay, I'm doing this. And then I auditioned for Juilliard, and I got into Juilliard. And I was like, well, I guess I'm really doing this acting thing, and I'm just probably going to fail for the rest of my life. But, you know, and I was terrified. I was terrified that I had committed myself to do something that I was destined to fail at. Because, again, I didn't have any examples of people who looked like me or even acted like me. And loved it just working. It just kept working. So I would tell my former self that it's going to be okay. Just go ahead and jump off the deep end and believe in yourself because it's all going to work out. That's what I would tell my former self.
And PJ, same question.
I don't think I started as young as these ladies, so I don't know. It was just something that I wanted to do, and moved from New York City to LA, and within 2 weeks had the casting session for Carrie, so I was lucky, yes. And so one thing followed another, and there just wasn't a moment where I thought, oh, I should be doing something else, or I want to do something else. It was just, the only other thing I wanted to be was a mom, and I have 2 children, a son and a daughter, and I've got 4 grandchildren, so, I guess I always just thought there's enough roles for everybody, and if you get a part that you really want, it's meant to be, and if you don't, it's meant to be, they're meant to be. So I always thought there was room for everybody, and things will unfold as they're supposed to happen, and there's reasons why they do and why they don't, and that was always my philosophy. Not to say that rejection is easy, or that you think, gosh, why didn't I do it like that, or I could have done it like that, but you know, you don't look like anybody else, you don't act like anybody else, you're your own unique person, and it's up to the director and the producer and who's ever funding the money as to who they want to choose, you know? So it's out of your hands. You can only, like these ladies have said, do your best, hope for the best, but if it doesn't work out, you can't knock yourself, you know, because it's not your fault. It's actually a lot of times I thought, well, they'll see. They should have picked me, or if I saw a movie that I didn't get cast in, I go, gosh, I could have done something different with that part, but I see, I could, you know, gosh, I like what she did. Or I didn't like what she did. But there's room for everybody.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to wrap this up. So the one last thing I would say is, what are you guys working on now that you want everybody in the audience to know? You can push that, and then we'll wrap it up.
Working on being the best Nana I can be.
Love that. I have okay, what's coming up? August 16th, and backwards. Ted Bundy, American Boogeyman. I have a cameo in it, and my daughter is also in it. So I highly recommend you see it. It's going to be AMC Theaters on the 16th. And then after that, it's probably going to be available streaming. And it is probably video on demand. But it's a great movie. I saw it. And I'm so happy. It's great. I mean, it's really great. Chad Michael Murray's in it, and Holland Roden, and also Jake Hayes is in it, and Lynn Shay. Lynn Shay's in it. She plays Bundy's mom. So it's great. All right. And that, and then one other film in November is a movie called High Holiday, and that is coming out with Tom Arnold and Jennifer Tilly, and I have a cameo in that too. And it's about a girl who spikes salad dressing with weed, and so everyone, all of the uptight family has to take some shenanigans occur. So that's like a Christmas movie kind of, and it'll come out in November. And the only other thing is that I'm writing a Better Off Dead book. So if you love that movie, then please follow me on social media, Diane Franklin 80 on Twitter, or actress Diane Franklin on Instagram. And then I'll let you know when the book comes out, hopefully next February. I'm looking forward. So anyway, bon, das ist Better Off Dead, the ultimate book. All right.
Okay. Real quick, we're on with season 5 of 911. We just started shooting, so that comes on probably the end of September. And we run up season 2 of True Patrol on Apple Plus. And that's really all for right now. I mean, that's, I'm about to go shoot something, but I'll tell you guys about that later. Follow me on Instagram at Tracie Thoms and Twitter.
Thank you very much, guys. Great time, 2 years old, huh? The other table, little tables, by the way, talk to them, ask questions, you get ready to ask you. All right, bye-bye, have a good night.
Thank you.